19 days after Thomas Crooks tried to kill former President Donald Trump, investigators are still trying to answer those questions. Had Crooks been radicalized? Did he have some kind of mental health issue? Was he being bullied? We still do not have an official motive. There hasn't been a lot of information. But one person who knew Crooks before the shooting was his high school guidance counselor, a man named Jim Knapp. And Knapp spoke to NewsNation correspondent Rich McHugh this week. Here's some of what he said.
Well, basically what I saw was a young man who was a typical high school teenager. He was a quiet fella. He stayed to himself, but he had a handful of friends. And it really was a kid who really just wanted to go through high school, get through high school, and graduate. He really decided to go into a career like computers, and he went to our local community college, and he finished up a 2-year degree there. And this fall, from what I understand, he was going to be going to Robert Morris University in computers. Last time I saw him was at graduation, and again, to this day, I thought he was a quiet young man who just went along about his business.
So you say quiet, you obviously had him as a guidance counselor.
Correct.
In those meetings, was there anything that would be an alarm bell for somebody in your position?
Right. Rich, I'm going to be honest with you, no, it was not. Because he was just a kid who would come in, he would answer my questions, he would give me good eye contact, and he would have a conversation with me. It wasn't like I had to scream, yell, or talk to him. He was just a normal, typical teenage young man.
Students have said that Thomas Crooks was bullied in school.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see or hear any of that?
None whatsoever. And that's really what got me, because a lot of people were coming out saying he was bullied. And I really thought long and hard about that. And I know, for example, if a kid was bullied, we have an anonymous tip hotline in Pennsylvania where you call in and you let people know. So anybody could have called in and said, this young man's getting bullied. He could have called in and said that. As the administration would have gotten on top of that right away. Bethel Park was really good about that, their high school administration. As a guidance counselor, I would have been out there talking with him, having him come in talking to me, his classmates, his teachers. And I can honestly tell you, I did not see any of that bullying. There was a video that was going around from another kid who they were touching his leg and he was saying, leave me alone. That could have been considered bullying in that respect, but I did not see any other type of bullying.
When was that?
I think that might have been in 9th and 10th grade.
And did he ever talk to you about it?
Not at all. Not at all. In fact, I would go down into the cafeteria and I would see kids who were down there sitting by themselves. Thomas was there for 1 year like that because he didn't have his friends group there.
Sitting by himself?
By himself, eating lunch. And I would go up to him and say, Thomas, would you like me to sit here, talk to you? Would you like me to get you somebody? And as a former basketball coach, my players would come over. And then I would walk away. But Thomas just wanted to be pretty much by himself.
So what do you think happened here?
I really think what happened, Rich, was evil struck the world. This young man, 2 years removed from high school, I really believe that something snapped. I believe that evil got him. And I'm going to be honest with you. You know, I'm really into the religious scene now, and I believe prayer. I believe prayer in the community. I believe prayer in the schools. I believe prayer everywhere, including the home. And I think that's where we really need to get to, because evil got to this young man, snapped something in his head, and this is where we're at today.
You know, what we still don't know is exactly what caused him to snap, which we're still digging into. Obviously, the FBI is looking into it. Our thanks to Rich McHugh.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.